This week we are off to the lovely Greek island of Santorini. I'm Bill Holcomb, and in this video I will be sharing 5 tips every beginner needs to help them create stunning watercolor landscapes. You can paint along with me by downloading my free sketch in the description, where you will also find a list of the materials used in this demonstration. So let's get painting. The first tip I will give you for this painting, which you will also be able to apply to many other paintings, is to lay a wash of clear water over the whole of the sky and the distant island and into the water. Now, if you do this for sky, then when you lay down your pigment washes, they will nicely fuse together and you will avoid hard edges occurring. And also the pigment will not dry too quickly upon you compared to painting directly onto dry paper. And as you can see, I've then gone into an orangey colour, which can be Winsor Yellow and Alizarin Crimson. And that's because we've got the sun from the left. That means we'll be having shadows on the right of the buildings. And that sun is also being picked up on the surface of the ocean. And then I'm adding some light Winsor Blue onto the ocean area, still wet in wet. And much later, I will address the tonal value of that part of the ocean. So at the moment, the work I'm doing on the ocean is really an underpainting. So remember to mop up the edges of the paper. You can see me drying my brush with some nice clean tissue, then using that dry brush to mop up the edges, avoiding creep back, and then use a hairdryer to dry that off. Now my next tip is for painting the domes. Use a clear wash of water again first over the whole of the dome, then dip your brush into your blue pigment for the colour of the domes, which is Winsor Blue, and add that to the right hand side of the dome, and it will slowly creep across to the left hand side. And then with your brush quite clear of pigment, by dabbing on the tissue again, you can just gently move some of that pigment across to the left side to encourage it fusing in with the clear water. That's my tip number 2 for you in respect of painting the domes. My third tip is to do with the distant island. So what you do, because the paper is all dry, you can have a wash of water first of all, and then start with the dark pigment at the top and let that run down into clear water at the bottom. Or you can just start with very strong pigment at the top, and whilst that's still wet, you can get a clean brush with clear water and add that to the bottom section of the island and let it fuse in that way. So you can do that in one of 2 ways. Then we, at this stage, it's a good idea, I think, to get some darks in. And so the section of the landscape that comes down to the water's edge, which is almost like cliffs, but not quite. It's rugged areas, soil and grasses and so forth, sloping down to the water's edge. Paint those next. You can see I'm using a fairly small brush, a number 6 on this occasion. And I'm using the tissue again, here and there, if I think I've got a little bit too much fluid on the brush. And let the dark brown colour fuse in with the green colour to allow you to make things as convincing, as effective as possible. That area of the painting gives us a nice contrast with the buildings and the section of the ocean. And as I mentioned to you later, I will change the value of that ocean water a little bit later. You at the bottom of the distant island where it reaches the water, you could do a little bit of lifting. Use a flat brush with clear water on it. Just scrape that along, and then tissue clean, nice and clean, so that you don't transfer any other pigment onto the paper. Nice and clean, press on that and lift. Then I'm concentrating on some of the shadowy areas. My next tip for you, number 4, is remember about negative painting. As I've said, the sun is shining from the left on this occasion, so light on the left of the buildings and shadow darker on the right hand side of the buildings. So I'm laying in some shadow areas, and I'm negative painting in the sense that when I lay down those shadow areas, I'm leaving certain lights, the white of the paper, on the left hand side. It's quite interesting hillside. Um, I've done enough of the hillside to tell a story. It's not meticulous drawing of all those buildings. Now, if it was a commission and somebody wanted their particular house to be clearly identifiable, then of course I would have paid even more attention to that aspect. Here on the domes, painting in the shadow areas on the right hand side, and it's quite a busy subject matter on this occasion. My tutorials on YouTube and Instagram are quite varied. I do some that are clearly for beginners, others intermediate, and others much more advanced. I would consider this one to be just into the more advanced stage, not the most advanced that we could tackle, but getting there. Because there's a lot of careful drawing has been involved, and a lot of careful painting is involved, and multiple techniques being applied to bring the painting to life. And then remember, you can use a hairdryer here and there to dry things off, speed up the process. Some people say they don't like to use a hairdryer, and it can affect the surface of the paper and the pigments and so forth. I personally have not found that to be an issue. It might partly be because I'm careful about using the hairdryer. I don't get the nozzle of it too close to the paper, and I don't hold it in just one position all the time unless I'm wanting to dry just a very small area. I will move the hairdryer around to distribute the heat. And I think because I use Arches paper, and often it's a 300-pound weight paper like on this occasion, it is so robust that it can withstand very easily the use of a hairdryer. Other papers, I think, would struggle and buckle and might start to break up and burn, etc. So please do remember, if you're on Instagram, to like and follow us, and please make comments and suggestions, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and don't be afraid to make comments and suggestions there either. We welcome those and ideas for future subjects to be painted. If you are a complete beginner, then I do have on my channels one particular tutorial that is try painting your first watercolor, and I highly recommend that to all beginners. Okay, so at this stage I've decided to strengthen up the water now, that part of the ocean. on the left hand side. So I've got the orange coloured pigment, the Winsor Yellow and some Alizarin Crimson, and laying that down. And as I said, this is a situation where the sun is catching the surface of the ocean. Just once that's dry, just a few little ripples have been added. As you go along during the painting, my next tip, tip number 5, is review the values of your painting. What I mean by that is your lights, your darks, the way that your paints have fused, how intense certain areas are, how light certain areas are, whether the coloration is exactly as you want, the juxtaposition of one color to another, etc., etc. So just be conscious of that. And if you notice something as you're going along painting, and you think, oh, I must remember to slightly alter that value in that area, make a note of it, or if it's practical, just get onto that and change the value when you're thinking of it, if it's practical to do so. Now, for these flowers in the foreground, this is one of the very rare exceptions that I make, that I'm using some gouache mixed in with the Alizarin Crimson to produce what I need for the flowers. And of course, in between, there's a various greenery, there's a variety is being achieved. So all the leaves and the foliage and the stems, etc., are included. You'll see that as we go along. And the flowers do extend up and go over purposefully bottom section of the painting here and there. And that means that it pushes us up into the painting as well. I've purposefully chosen to represent these flowers in a very impressionistic fashion. I've not meticulously tried to draw out various petals and so forth on this occasion. On other paintings I have done. For instance, my painting of desert cacti includes some flowers that have grown soon after the rain has fallen, and they are quite detailed in the painting in the foreground. But on this occasion, I'm just doing enough work to create the impression, and here and there I'm adding some highlights with the white gouache. But as I say, that aspect is quite exceptional. And here we are, the finished painting. I hope you feel that's effective and that you've learnt a great deal from those 5 main tips, which you can apply to this painting if you tackle it, and many others for transparent watercolor. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.